Transformers 1 Sentinel is such a fun character to watch because he's objectively the worst, but he's just so secure about it. Like, he just revels in it, which I feel like is such a rare thing for villains nowadays. Like, he literally mutilates newborn babies, invented racism, and doomed his entire planet, but when people confront him about it, he's just like, LOL, yeah, but who cares? Left my ass off. Yeah, that's something about Sentinel Prime. Like, in the original 1984 cartoon, like, we don't really hear much about Sentinel Prime or Zeta Prime because they were characters that were retconned after the fact because the concept of primes didn't happen until like I think the Dreamwave comics. I didn't really read much of the comics. Everything I know about the comics is from the Transformers wiki. But yeah, from what I understand, like that's where the entire concept of prime being like a title rather than a name came from. Because in the original 1984 cartoons and even the early Marvel Transformers comics, Optimus Prime was just a name. Like the idea of him becoming a Prime didn't come till like maybe around when the movie was being made. But originally, there's no foundation for the idea of Prime as a title of leadership. That was something that came up later when they made the movie and they made Hot Rod into Rodimus Prime. But even then, the cartoon didn't really have like a historical like lineage of primes. It was just Optimus Prime and then Rodimus Prime, and that was it. And then from there, like the Dreamwave comics and every other like Transformers media kind of built up on that. But for Sentinel Prime specifically, I think he became kind of villainous in the comics. In the Transformers animated media, he didn't really show up very much, and if he did, I think his first actual animated appearance was Transformers Animated, because I don't think the previous, like between 1984 Transformers and Transformers Animated, I don't really think they featured the primes all that much. So Sentinel being basically a douchebag is an ongoing personality trait that he has, but because in War for Cybertron, the video games, they made Zeta Prime kind of like the predecessor of Optimus Prime, when historically in Transformers lore, it was always Sentinel Prime that preceded Optimus Prime. But then the video games kind of like messed that up because they designed the character after Zeta Prime, and then they're like, oh, oops, this guy was supposed to precede Optimus Prime. Let's rename him Sentinel Prime. So marketing material called him Zeta Prime and Sentinel Prime, and they're like, oh, it's actually Zeta Sentinel Zeta Prime or Zeta Sentinel. It's like it was all messed up in the video games. I don't know how that slipped through the developers because they did so much research on all the other Transformers characters for War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. I don't know how the whole Sentinel Prime and Zeta Prime thing got mixed up, but it's kind of neat here that in Transformers 1 that Alpha Trion was a friend to Zeta Prime, and that's something that I've been kind of toying around with. I don't know if that's from the comic books. Again, I haven't read the comics books, but it's something that I've been like trying to develop for my own little like reimagining of the Transformers or my own interpretation of the Transformers lore. So yeah, there's been a lot of there's been a lot of like acceptance of this portrayal of Sentinel Prime because yeah, in movies in the last 10 years, a lot of studios are like, oh, villains are not evil, they're just misunderstood. But like Sentinel Prime has been a pretty refreshing break from that because before we did have like evil people for the sake of being evil, and then for the last 10 years it was like, oh no, they weren't inherently evil, they're just misunderstood. And now we're swinging back to, okay, we're gonna have evil villains again. It's kind of refreshing that there have been a few recent characters in movies that are bad guys just because they're bad guys. Everyone tries so hard to justify why a character is bad, but when you're irredeemable from the start, you can just go off the rails. Jack Horner in the newest Puss in Boots is another that comes to mind, just bad because they like being bad. I have not really kept up on the Shrek spin-offs, like Puss in Boots and Puss in Boots 2. A lot of people say it's really good. I don't know. I haven't really been interested in Shrek since what was it? Shrek 2? Shrek 2 was good. Shrek 3, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about that, and then they said Shrek 4 like kind of brought it back, but yeah, I'm not really into like the whole Shrek universe. I can't believe the Autobots gave Megatron so much shit for wanting to kill this guy. If they wanted to, seem like a morally great act for him to commit. They should have made Sentinel Prime have more redeeming qualities than just sexy, because frankly, letting this guy live seems morally worse than ripping in half. I've done it too, Megatron. It's kind of interesting that a character like Sentinel Prime like incites this kind of emotional response to him, because honestly, people like Sentinel Prime do exist in real life. We just never really hear about it until they commit something so horrendous that they couldn't cover it up. Megatron was right in the same way Magneto is right. There's no moral quandary to be had in killing Sentinel Prime, just like there was no moral quandary in Magneto killing Sebastian Shaw. I think the movie makes a good point of why killing Sentinel isn't a good idea. A new start should start with an execution, and in general, killing them is the easy way out. Sentinel should pay for his crimes but get a quick death. Megatron was wrong to do it. This was a really good analysis of it. I've always been of the opinion that Optimus is wrong for the right reasons and Megatron is right for the wrong reasons. Optimus is a reformist. He's the type to be like, we just gotta get rid of a few bad apples and the system will work again. And he's wrong. It simply doesn't work that way, but he feels this way because he's an idealist that believes people are fundamentally good, so holds himself to those moral standards, which is why he earned the name Optimus Prime, because he's very optimistic. Megatron, on the other hand, wants to destroy the system and kill the oppressors, and he's right to do so, but his motivation in doing so isn't entirely selfish. He doesn't really believe Sentinel should die because of what he did to Cybertronian society. He wants to kill him because he feels betrayed and he lost everything he believed in, which is where his shift towards dictatorship happens. If he alone is the unquestioned leader, he can't be led astray the same way he was by Sentinel. Optimus is naive but acts primarily of love for the oppressed. Megatron is a realist but acts purely out of hate for the oppressor. That is a really good analysis of creating that dichotomy between Optimus and Megatron. And I feel like a lot of Transformers media tries to develop that into the characters, but it doesn't seem to always execute very well. Yeah, having your first act as new leader being the extrajudicial execution of the former doesn't exactly set a good example for the populace. In what scenario in universe would this extrajudicial killing be preferable to an execution legally agreed upon by the populace? All this would do is make people on your side afraid of you, and the people who aren't hate you even more. It sets the precedent that if you're willing to commit acts of cruelty when your emotions get the better of you, and not only that, it turns the executed party into a martyr for the remaining supporters to rally behind. Basically, they're using historical precedents to build the universe of Transformers 1, which I really like. They actually put a lot of effort into the world building and the story of the movie. Simply putting him on trial and letting all of Iacon decide his fate themselves would have shown everyone that their new leadership intends to do things right to put justice in the hands of the people. Finally, it's worth pointing out that Megatron's wanton destruction of the city is pretty solid proof that killing Sentinel wasn't enough for him. Everything he had built and everyone who supported him, whether they knew of his crimes or not before that point, had to go too. Yeah, because I see a lot of people were confused, like, wait, why does Shockwave and Soundwave were so eager to follow Megatron when Optimus did lead them well against their fight against Sentinel Prime? And the reason being, the High Guard hates Sentinel Prime. So for them to follow Optimus, like, they would have to integrate themselves into a society that Sentinel Prime built, which clearly, if you are part of a faction that hates Sentinel Prime, you would not want to do that. So it made sense that they would follow Megatron, because Megatron wants to destroy everything that Sentinel Prime built, and that included all the innocent civilians that became part of the system that he created, which is like the whole class system between the miners and the regular Transformers people. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of like historical facts that are researched to build upon this universe, and that's something that I've been kind of playing around with too. I know some the comics, like the IDW comics, also played into like using like our history to shape the history of the Transformer society, but I think they, from what I understand, they kind of went off the rails later on in their like last few issues. But I think a lot of people, when the IDW issues first came out, they did kind of created that, oh, this is not a perfect society, and that's what led to the formation of the Autobots and the Decepticon conflict. yeah, there's a lot to take. Same school of villain. Yeah, there's a lot to take from Transformers One. They really did a good job with the story, and it's sad that if it doesn't do well at the box office, we might not even see the rest of the trilogy get played out. Because if they keep this quality of effort in their story and world building throughout the entire trilogy, it will honestly be the first Transformers series or trilogy to actually have a cohesive world building that doesn't contradict itself, which is like apparently hard to do since Hasbro seems to want to get their hands in on everything creative and just mess everything up. Look at some other comments on this. He's been touching minors since birth. Uh, Nicholas Reyes. I mean, you're probably not wrong. He probably did it for like the first maybe few batches of. I mean, I'm sure after a while he got his like inner circle to just rip out the cogs, but you're not wrong. But when you put it that way, it sounds so bad. Touching. Oh my gosh. No. Oh my. I don't know what's worse, that comment or the P Diddy edit. Oh. Yeah, that's. He's been touched. No. No. Oh no. Oh, he's got 43 updates for it. Yeah, let's end it there. I think we'll just move on to the next meme or post, whatever. Oh no. Oh no. The implications. Okay, here's some more like comics from this one artist that I've already shown like previous comics where he was doing the whole Mom Lita like storyline. This one's based on the ending. So like, go, take the High Guard with you and leave. You are banished from Iacon. And they're all like, it's like Megatron, Optimus, and Lita are like, he's taking this really surprisingly well. And then poor B-127 just lost one of his only three friends. And he's like, wow, what strong fortitude. How are you, B? Like, I'm doing fantastic. So when's Megatron coming back? Oh my god. Oh no, how are they gonna explain to him? He had no idea. I mean, it's like, because I thought it was funny, everyone would laugh, but everyone seems really distraught over it. I mean, poor neurodivergent Bumblebee here is like, I don't know what's going on. So when are we gonna have adventures again? Yay! uh, I love a D still thinking about B post banishment help. He's offended because he thought B was gonna step in and do this, but he didn't. Stop fighting. B's gonna be at a loss for words when Megatron returns. Oh my gosh. I mean, if they're basing the world building on like bits and pieces of the aligned continuity, like a lot of people are predicting that this is what they're gonna do for the sequel, where like B127 earns the name Bumblebee and then he goes to find Megatron and Megatron rips out his voice box. That would be so devastating. But I mean, if they decide to go through with that, I would like to see how they're gonna fit it into the story of Transformers 1. But I mean, that would be that's just terrible. Kind of, yeah, see, kind of fucked up. Shockwave and Soundwave followed Optimus into battle. He threw their asses out with Megatron like he was ever their leader at that point. But I mean, like I said, they still hate Sentinel Prime, and Iacon represented everything that Sentinel Prime created. So it makes sense that the High Guard would not want to integrate themselves into a society that Sentinel Prime basically created. Oh my gosh, this cracked me up so much. I was like, who came up with this? I'm gonna make you mine. Oh my god, yes! It literally throws her in the mines. I was like, oh my god. So I'm telling you, the minor jokes in this movie are just gonna be through the roof. Like so many Transformers fan artists are just going ham with it. The timing, miners, miners. Oh my god. Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen with Darkwing, because Darkwing, he hated both Orion Pax and D16, so it's like, I don't want to go with the Autobots or the Decepticons. I hate them both. And it's like, well, I mean, Decepticons don't really care for neutrals, so if you decide to be neutral in this war, it's not gonna end well for you. I'd mind for him no matter what because he's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Like my sister, she said Sentinel Prime has a very punchable face, and I was like, you know what? You're not wrong. He has a very punchable face. Twisted Metal 3. The training video shown to bots after they're made. Also, he removed her spleen. I mean, he puts the cog in the ring case. Yeah. Oh my gosh, memes. I mean, the fact they took the effort to draw this. Bumblebee's first day out of sub-level 50. He's like, I made new friends. It's like Megatron going crazy, Sentinel Prime's dead, and Orion's blasted to pieces. Oh no. Is this just coincidence that society collapsed as soon as B left his ill timeout corner? Oh, his little timeout corner. Help. Oh my gosh, Orion. You always draw B so cute. He's so silly. Oh, fuck. Damn, it really never occurred to me until now that all this happened to Bumblebee in the span of a single day. That's actually pretty crazy. Gotta love it, lol, but he gets to work for the government now. Why is this censored? What the heck, Twitter? You can't let child see this. Aw, jeez, little bro just wanted to have friends. The age of primes is over. Definitely not his best day. It's okay, he works for the government now. Oh no, be realizing he'll never unsee this. Hey, now. It's kind of nuts how the guy who literally went stir crazy mad is the most normal one. that that is a good point. It's like B just wants to have friends, and then here's like Optimus and Megatron tearing up society that was, built on lies. But what are you gonna do, man?